Hello, and welcome back to freeCodeCamp's Applied Accessibility Challenges. This is Add an Accessible Date Picker, and it says, forms often include the input field, which can be used to create several different form controls. The type attribute on this element indicates what kind of input will be created. So we have the input field, and the type attribute would indicate what kind of input is going to be created. You may have noticed the text and submit input types in prior challenges, and HTML5 introduced an option to specify a date field. Depending on browser support, a date picker shows up in the input field when it's in focus, which makes filling in a form easier for all users. For older browsers, the type will default to text, so it helps to show users the expected date format in the label or as placeholder text just in case. Here's an example. Let's stretch this like this. The example they give, here's a label with its for attribute set to input 1, and then we have our input down here with that ID that matches input 1. The type is given date. So Kemper Cat is setting up a Mortal Kombat tournament and wants to ask his competitors to see what date works best. Add an input tag with a type attribute of date, an ID attribute of pick date, and a name attribute of date. Let's go ahead and zoom out of here. We can do this, and we could even zoom this one in since we're not really utilizing that part. So we want to add an input tag. It says add our code here, and as we can see, the label here says preferred date, and it's for pick date, which means when we are in here, we're going to do our input type attribute of date, an ID of pick date, and a name attribute of date. Close this off. So we did do what was asked, and this label relates to this ID here, so we know this input and this label are together. And this is all inside of this form. So let us run this, and we did pass. The important thing that we learned here was setting our type to date within our input, and like it says here, older browsers will default to text, but depending on browser support, a date picker shows up in the input field when it's in focus. So whereas type back in the day could have been text or submit, HTML5 introduced date, which makes it easier when filling out the form, and older browsers again will default to text. As long as you guys are understanding that, you guys are getting this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.